Audio Thoughts with Prince on Prince Miller Entertainment TV. Today is the 20th of September 2023. Welcome to another edition of our Audio Thoughts with Prince on Prince Miller Entertainment TV. Remember guys, you can watch our videos on our Facebook page, which is Prince Miller Entertainment, our Facebook group, which is Prince Miller Entertainment TV. This is a debate show. I'll give you guys a topic, I'll give you guys my own views, my own opinion, and you guys, you are free to comment in the comment section, as long as you don't insult me or one another. Yes, remember, we are Zimbabweans first before any political party. And so here's something interesting here from journalist Hopewell. I do follow Hopewell on Facebook, and so a prominent Zimbabwean journalist Hopewell has criticized South African President Cyril Ramaphosa for what he calls pushing tired Zanu PF propaganda that sanctions imposed by Western powers are responsible for Zimbabwe's economic collapse that has driven millions to migrate to neighbouring countries and further afield. Addressing the UN General Assembly in New York of America on Tuesday, Ramaphosa said the sanctions imposed on Zimbabwe have a negative impact on neighboring countries, including South Africa. Posting on X, which is Twitter, Hopewell said Zimbabwe is not under a trade embargo, as Zimbabwean entities can still export various products without any hindrance. Former President Emerson Mnangagwa's top aide, Petina Gapa, accused Hopewell of misleading people, adding there is and there's never been a trade embargo on Zimbabwe. In sports, Hopewell said only people who are pushing Zanu PF propaganda will argue that sanctions destroyed Zimbabwe's economy. Hopewell said, on the contrary, massive looting of public funds, plunder of the country's natural resources, grand incompetence, family nepotism, and greed are the center of Zimbabwe's economic crisis. Hopewell wrote, "We know that sanctions against individuals in Zimbabwe are not multilateral, and anyone not doing Zanu PF propaganda knows that they are not the reason why Zimbabwe collapsed. The reason why we mention our ability to do trade is that in rural areas, Zimbabweans are lied that the country can't trade. That is why the economy has collapsed. Every Zimbabwean has seen this on TV, and of course, it is a lie. We also know that there is no trade embargo against Zimbabwe, which is why I used that example of blueberries. Unlike what Zanu PF says when lying to rural people, hence the deceptive Zanu PF propaganda we always point out. We also know that Rhodesia was under a proper multilateral sanctions regime with a trade embargo, yet it prospered because there was very minimal corruption. It is a fact that the national hardware that we use today from hospitals, schools, and roads were built during the Rhodesian days under a proper sanctions regime and trade embargo. That is why we ask why Zanu PF blames targeted sanctions for its tragic failures, yet it can trade and sell its minerals openly, something that Smith could not do, yet he built the country under a proper trade embargo. No single referral hospital was built in post-colonial Zimbabwe except for Chitumbiza, which was a Rhodesian provincial hospital and was only upgraded to a referral hospital in the 1980s. Anyone honest knows that Zimbabwe has collapsed not because of targeted sanctions, but because of the massive looting of public funds, plunder of the country's natural resources, grand incompetence, family nepotism, and greedy. The suffering of Zimbabwean women who are crossing into South Africa to give birth to Musina, because the biggest hospital in Zimbabwe only has one maternity theatre built by Ian Smith in 1977. This influx of Zimbabweans into South Africa has caused tensions between South African locals and their government, which is why Ramaphosa talks about the Zimbabwean problem and points to sanctions as a driver, which is false. Any honest reader of the Zimbabwean situation knows that it is not caused by sanctions, but corruption, a lot of it. The world knows that 2,500 Zimbabwean women die giving birth in Zimbabwe because there are no maternity theatres. The world also knows that 70% of women who give birth at Musina Hospital in South Africa are Zimbabwean. Hence, President Ramaphosa score that his country is affected, its public services are under pressure. Now, here is the crux of the matter. which I must address as a respected journalist should do. We all know that it only cost $37,000 to build a maternity theatre. We all know that the Zimbabwean government lends a Land Cruiser at $400,000, although it is much cheaper than that. 3/4 of that money is looted from that 400k bill per each Land Cruiser. We also know that the Zimbabwean government has thousands of these Land Cruisers for its Zanu PF political elites. Ministers get 3 cars each every cycle. Chiefs get brand new cars ahead of hospitals. Government bureaucrats get these Land Cruisers every 2 to 3 years and keep the old ones. We all know that just one Land Cruiser would build 11 maternity theatres. Based on these proven material facts, it is a planted big fat lie that Zimbabweans, particularly women running to SA, are doing so on account of targeted sanctions. That is why I always ask, how can a country that can trade fuels to build a maternity theatre? The unilateral sanctions don't and can't stop that. So guys, that's the latest here. This is a big discussions which is happening on social media, on Facebook. Yes, inyama sanctions, because President Cyril Ramaphosa yesterday in New York City are the main reasons why many Zimbabweans are leaving their country and come to South Africa, whereby so sanctions against Zimbabwe needs to be removed. They must be removed as soon as yesterday. And so what people are saying, you know what, my sanctions has Ramaphosa vanhukadzi kuti vaende vanozvarira kumisina inyaya yekuti muZimbabwe hatina mahospital, hatina zvipatara. The government is prioritizing Land Cruisers, motikari dzemachief, motikari dzemapolitical elites vachitadza kuprioritize service delivery, which is hospitals, which is maternity theaters. I mean, they cost almost $37,000. That's not how many cars are cutting over the last 5 years. Nembinga, nema political elites, varkuunza motikari, tushuka chukuma $500,000. Some are even buying cars worth 5 million rands. Yeah, that's 2023 in a country by since 1980. Atambo waka any major hospital, any referral hospital. My hospital is akasiwa na Ian Smith. So Mwarguti, don't deny sanctions are real. During Chamisa campaign, he openly said, if I win, I tell Biden to remove sanctions. Which sanctions was he talking about? Stop being a CCC mouthpiece and become a blogger you are. And Mwarguti, is there sanctions in Lesotho, Mozambique, Zambia, Malawi, Nigeria, Congo, Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, Botswana, Namibia, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Somalia, Pakistan, and Bangladesh? I'm asking because all the nations of those countries live in South Africa. And that's a good question. Mwava reply about it. So why is sanctions being blamed when it comes to Zimbabweans? Because everybody is here in their own accord. SA is a free for all country, or maybe a refugee camp of the world. Marguti, leave Zambia, maybe all of the above, while Zambians in SA live in your country voluntarily, not by circumstances. And Marguti, corruption is the main reason why Africans suffer while its leaders are swimming in pools of milk and honey. It's not a secret. And how are we benefiting from executive order sanctions? That is why it is that the opposition wants them gone before they begin their term. In the event they become the ruling party. And so guys, don't sanctions. I mean, I always know that people will be divided in the comment section. Some people will be saying, you know what, that's the reason why Zimbabweans are moving out. UK, USA, South Africa, Botswana, Zambia. And some people are saying, you know what, even Smith anga sanctions anga now, he was under sanctions, but he managed to build roads, he managed to build houses, he managed to do so much under heavy sanctions before independence. But under independence Zimbabwe takatomborarama tisina sanctions until 2000. And of course ndo atoma excuses akungopowa ne hurumende iripo kuti hatikwanisi kudai so because of nyaya dzema-sanctions, hatikwanisi kudai so because of nyaya dzema-sanctions. So guys, munozona sei? Ngatitaure in the comment section. This is Audio Thoughts with Prince on Prince Entertainment TV. Hopewell is saying no, sanctions can't be blamed for what is happening right now in Zimbabwe. It's because of nepotism, it's because of looting, it's because of incompetence. I mean, it's because of greedy. These guys are greedy. Politicians are greedy. The Zanu PF political elites are greedy. They are there for themselves. They are not there for the people. Ministers get 3 cars each every year cycle. Just imagine. The old ones, they always keep them. So minister, I'm talking maybe 4 or 5 cars. And that's about manje. So those cars are necessary. The government must prioritize the health care. This is Audio Thoughts with Prince on Prince Entertainment TV. Remember to like, share, comment, and follow.